Alright, enough pissing around. Enough jankling your wankle. We got some Higurashiing to do. We have happiness to fight for. We have the wrong button to press once again. But we can read about the clowns milling about again. That'd be great. The difficulty is 0, remember. There we go. Let's get back here. Alright. Here we go. That's the button we wanted. So let us go.
Ah, そりゃ多分葛西さんだね。シオンの監視役だよ。
監視役なの？
まあね。シオンのやつ、私と比べると突拍子もないことをするからさ。
Okay, name one crazy thing Shion has ever done. Name one.
監視役が必要なわけよ。
ミオンもシオンもその意味においちゃ互角だと思うぞ。
Keiichi-kun cut in the conversation. They ended up making a lot of noise, teasing each other like they always do. Exactly, can't think of any. Mion made it sound like that man, Kasai-san, was some sort of territory boss in Okinomiya. It wouldn't be easy for me to meet him in person, but because he's Shi-chan's watchdog, I might be able to find a way. The problem, though, is that I don't have any connection to Shi-chan either. We hang around every once in a while whenever she comes to Hinamizawa, but I've never called or visited her. So she's allowed in Hinamizawa. Like, it's okay. Okay. Good notes to have. She's allowed in Hinamizawa, so Shion is just out in the open. I have no idea how we can meet. Even if I could meet Kasai-san, there's no guarantee that he'd help me. He seems like the kind of person who doesn't like to gossip about others. He told me about Rena-san at the coffee house only because Shi-chan pushed him to. Plus, the situation could grow worse very quickly while I waited for the chance to meet him, so any help he might offer could come too late. I remember Kasai-san told me that as her next step, Rena-san usually uses her partner to threaten their catch. That would signify the end of her performance. They would be going to take all of my father's money. I wasn't feeling a sense of crisis yet, but the time might be coming very soon. Even as I was at school, taking a class peacefully, that man might already be at the house right this moment, threatening my father to hand over his bank books. Once I become anxious, I get more and more anxious. I could feel a big pressure in my chest as if the ceiling had collapsed on me.
いやー、平和すぎて退屈だぜ。
Life's so peaceful, everybody. It's so peaceful and fun. Keiichi-kun talks to me
そう
yawning.
かな。レナは平和で退屈なの大好きだよ。
俺はごめんだね。せめて火星人が襲来するくらいのことが、毎週とは言わないまでにも月末くらいには欲しいところだぜ。あ、定期テストはなしでだぜ。
もし本当に火星人が攻めてきて世界中が滅ぼされてひなみ沢も焼け野原になったら、ケイチ君は退屈が紛れて満足かな。
I'm getting into some Haruhi Suzumiya shit now.
かな。
You guys believe in time travelers, espers, and aliens by any chance?
いや、そこまでは言ってねえよ。何かアクシデントの一つもないと退屈で溶けちまいそうだぜって言いたかっただけだぜ。
He had no idea what I've been going through, of course, and that's why he says that. But I was still irritated by his insensitivity. I couldn't understand why he wouldn't be satisfied with such a peaceful life. He never has to doubt that today and tomorrow will be as fun as yesterday. I was all too aware that boring and peaceful days could be destroyed all of a sudden. I knew that boring and peaceful days could come to an end all of a sudden because your mom wanted to divorce your dad. I knew that you could feel like you didn't belong anywhere in your own house because your dad had gotten a new girlfriend. Even so, you had to repeat the same kind of day over and over again. That's why I want to live every day happily in order to be prepared when the world comes to its end.
レナは日々が幸せそうでいいよな。
All of them at the
そうい
same
うの
time.
もスキルなのかな。ちょっと羨ましいぜ。
そんなの羨ましがられても困るな。
日々を退屈でなく幸せに過ごすのって何かコツでもあるのか？あるなら教えてくれよ。俺も得得してみたいぜ。
そんなの簡単だよ。気づくだけだもん。
気づくって？
There's no way he could realize it, and it was probably better that he didn't, because that meant he was truly happy. Yo, welcome Taylor, how's it going? Hope you're doing well.
気づくだけだよ。幸せな日々が有限であることに。
Good enough? Sounded like you were having some DAW issues, though. That kind of sucks. The three of us walked home for school like we always did. Michan said goodbye to us at the corner of the street where she took her separate way home. She walked away, waving, but I chased after her.
何？
Michan apparently thought she dropped something, and she looked around to see what she dropped.
忘れるところだった。実はね、昨日喫茶店でしーちゃんと笠井さんに会ったの。その時にね、笠井さんの落とし物を拾ったの。
Of course he hadn't dropped anything. I was lying. If I could meet him, I'd just show him whatever, tell him I thought it was his, and apologize for my mistake.
へえ、あ、そう。それありがと
Yeah, like I almost forgot to tell you.
う。届けとくよ。
それでね、レナが直接返したいの。
Michan looked surprised. I couldn't blame her. I'd met him only once. It's weird to want to give something back in person to someone you barely know.
まあ、そりゃ構わないけど。
Let's go, nerd. Hope you are having happy, relaxed days, peaceful days with your friends. Nobody is unhappy in Hinamizawa, by the way. Just, so you know. Hope you're doing well, though.
サングラスにおひげがね。
She's really stretching now. He has a cute beard. I mean, he's got a nice beard, I ain't gonna lie. It's
ちょっぴ
nice.
り可愛かったの。はう。
Could I fudge my true intentions with my cute mode? I tried it anyway. Michan usually takes words at their face value, and she seemed to buy it.
口ひげを引っこ抜いてお持ち帰りしちゃダメだよ。
で、どうかな？会えるかな？
忙しいのか暇なのか、全然見当つかない人だからね。今度、ひなみ沢に来る用事がないか聞いておくよ。
I needed to know when as soon as possible. Of course, I wasn't going to say I wanted to meet him today, but at least tomorrow or the day after tomorrow.
なんだよ。お前ら何やってんだ？
Yeah, he looks like three people in a massive suit. Yeah. You wonder if Rena would appreciate your facial brush as well? She probably would. I mean, I think it's cute, so...
レナがね、新しい恋に目覚めちゃったんだってさ。
違うよ。はおー。
なんだそりゃ。面白そうな話だな。俺も混ぜろ。
I didn't want her to leave it up in the air, so I told her I think I should give it back to him as soon as possible, and sure he's looking for it too. Michan said okay twice and walked away waving. I hadn't yet thought about how I was going to ask for help when I would meet him. He seemed to be in a higher position than Rena-san and her partner. If he agreed to help me, it would be very encouraging. But there was a possibility that he'd tell me he didn't want to interfere in other people's private matters. He could just say the whole thing was just another love triangle between a father, his daughter, and his lover.
じゃあな、レナ。また明日な。
また明日ね。
I said goodbye to Keiichi-kun and walked home alone. After Keiichi-kun was gone, everything went quiet and my head became clear. What I needed at the moment was quiet time to think about what I should do from then on. I shouldn't depend on Kasai-san to solve my problem. He'd most likely decline my request, so I'll have to think about some other alternatives. It's probably better that I just do that. A love triangle between a father, his daughter, and his lover. Those words bothered me because I've seen an unhappy triangle like that before. That sort of thing had happened to Satoshi-kun. Uh-oh. Wow. Satoshi-kun experienced it last year. He fought for his sister in a triangle with his aunt. It was the same situation as mine. I'm trying to fight to protect my father. Satoshi-kun fought alone. Nobody helped him. All I did for him was give my sympathy and compassion. I didn't think that I could do anything more than that. I felt sorry for him, but I didn't really help him out. Irresponsibly, I tried to cheer him up, and I probably told him something that I thought would make him feel better, but that hurt him instead. I recently realized how much I hurt him with my insensitivity, because Keiichi just hurt me the same way. I'm going down the same path Satoshi-kun went last year. I feel like I'm experiencing deja vu. I feel like I'm experiencing deja vu in an unusual repetition. Would that mean that I'd be the one who gets demoned away this year? I really should. I should be okay. I wasn't thinking about running away from Hinamizawa. Was I? I wasn't thinking about running away from Hinamizawa, but I thought about running away from my home many times. That's why I made the place I could escape to in the garbage dump. That dump happened to be in Hinamizawa, but what if it wasn't? Running there would be the same thing as running away from Hinamizawa. I shouldn't think like that. Oyashiro-sama will get mad at me. Oyashiro-sama is really scary. I saw flickering lights in my head. Oh no, every time I tried to remember that time, my mind would stop working properly. I remembered the vivid colors of my psychoactive drugs. The flickering lights and clouds started spreading in my head. They were so bright and annoying. Don't try too hard to remember. Don't try too hard to remember. And no. I couldn't stop the flickering lights in my head. I couldn't have that feeling. I had to fill my heart with another feeling. Yeah, there was no time for these crazy flickering lights in my head. I had to think about what I should do when Kasai-san declined my request for help. I had to protect my father from Rena-san and that bad man. Wait, why was I still calling her that? Rena is Rena. Rena. She's a bad person who deceived my father and tried to bring us unhappiness. Bad people bring bad things into the world without even doing anything. They're different from the other 90% of people who aren't bad. If you let them loose, they'll even ruin the people around them. When you have one bad tangerine in a box, it spreads its fungus to the other tangerines around it. That's what people are like. I couldn't remember how Satoshi-kun resolved his triangle last year, but I could still see the flickering lights in my head. They're still flickering. 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 Just as the swirl of flickering lights were making me dizzy, I saw my house. I also saw Rena-san's scooter parked by the side of the gate. The moment I saw the bike, the flickering lights disappeared and I regained control of myself. Rena-san had spent the night last night. She told me she had to work today in the evening, so she should be leaving soon. But I didn't want to be around her, even for a little while until she left. I said I'm home real loud, rushed into the house, pretended that my friends were waiting outside, and rushed out of the house. But Rena-san stopped me.
あら、おかえり、レイナちゃん。
Hi! Hey, you! Smiley girl! What are you up to? Yo, little ray of sunshine, you!
あ、こんにちは。
This was the first time I thought Rena-san's smile was ugly. It only stood to reason. I had realized the scheme she was hiding behind that smile.
今日ね、お父さんと一緒にお昼は5グラまで行ってきたのよ。キーマカレーがとっても美味しいお店でね。
My father poked his head out of the living room and he says, I want to go there again next time we go. I really like that curry. I wondered if he meant with me next time or with me and her. Anyway, I hate it when Rena-san says your father.
それでレトルトをお土産に買ってきたの。後でぜひ食べてみてね。美味しいから。レイナちゃんはこのお店知ってる？
Oh yeah, she is gonna bust the door down. I did know the restaurant she was talking about. I saw it in a magazine. It was a new restaurant that just opened recently. I also remembered that it was an expensive restaurant. The amount of money they spent on a take-home curry alone must have been enough to cover the cost of all of our dinners for several nights. Since I was aware of what was in the bank books, it was hard for me to stay calm.
それは楽しみです。ありがとうございますね、リナさん。
それでね、レイナちゃん。ちょっとみんなでお話があるんだけど。
Oh no! Oh no! Nope, nope, nope! She's noping the fuck out. We're out of here. Later!
ごめんなさい。ちょっと友達を待たせてるん
Yep,
で
later. Gotta
出か
go.
けますね。
Fuck this shit!
またゴミ捨て場で宝探しなの。
レイナちゃんは宝探しが好きね。私も今度行ってみようかしら。
You belong in a dump, that's for sure.
ではすみません。失礼します。
Every time Rena-san moved her arms or head, the scent of her perfume struck my nostrils. I hate the smell of her perfume, so I couldn't stay here any longer. I rushed out of the house and started running to get away from her perfume. The rubber band inside of me, the one called Rena, was stretched all the way to its limit. I'm pretty sure I'd explode and go crazy if the rubber band broke. I didn't want to feel like that inside my own house. My house was supposed to be the place where I could open my heart freely. I ran away. I ran away from there. I ran further and further away from there because it was no longer a place I belonged. It was not that I had a destination in mind. I was just running away. I was running to escape to a place where I did belong. Didn't I decide to fight against that woman? Didn't I decide to fight against her either by myself or with my father? But then once I saw her fake smile, a chill ran up my back. It was like I picked up a stone, found a carpet of bugs underneath it, and put it back on the ground in a hurry. I rushed out of the house as fast as I could. Did I want to fight or did I want to run away? Was I just choosing to spend a peaceful time in my hideout, believing that tomorrow would be the same as today? I couldn't do that. I didn't know when they'd spring their trap. I couldn't afford to waste any time. I knew that, deep down. I knew that, but I just wanted to run away. I couldn't stop myself from running away, and so I did run away. At times like this, the mattress in my hideout would feel so soft, that I knew. The cries of the Higurashi were soothing to the ears. They sounded as soft as my mattress. They were like music. They didn't force any feelings upon me. They cried as if to tell me just to be who I am. It was always so quiet here, and I immediately noticed the purr of an engine coming closer. People used to come here and make a lot of noise during the dam conflict, but now nobody really comes here. This place is forgotten. So it was rare to see somebody come through here at all. I sat on the roof of the abandoned car and waited for the intruder to go away without looking their way. But the purr of the engine stopped. I'm not stupid. If it stopped, I knew exactly who it had to be. I heard the person calling me, but I ignored it once. The person came closer, making it harder for me to ignore her, and she called my name again, and I turned around this time.
Rena-san.
Hello! Welcome! Welcome to my kingdom. Oh, man.
レイナちゃん、結構耳遠い方？
すみません。多分逆風だったんで聞こえにくかったんだと思います。
Guess I couldn't hear you. You didn't speak bitch loud enough. She seemed to buy my poor excuse. She smiled and said, yeah, it happens sometimes.
一人？お友達は？
一人で遊んでますよ。
その年でなかなか渋いわね。
Rena stretched out and looked across the huge garbage dump.
しかし、 よくもこれだけ盛大にスクラップばっか捨てたもんよね。知ってる？昔、平坂の2丁目にもタイヤの外れた車ばっかり積んであるところがあってね。
I wasn't interested in Rena-san's old story, but I pretended to listen and nodded. She doesn't take this road to go back to Okinomiya. I guess she knew I'd be here and came by to see me. What did she want? It was obvious that she was just trying to make conversation. She probably took it personally when I avoided her earlier, which must be why she was here to butter me up. It would be better for her not to have any conflicts with the daughter of the man she's seeing, no matter what the intention of seeing him is. Hey, how's it going, Taxes? Welcome. Hope you are doing well this fine evening. In that sense, it was a reasonable action for her to take. While I listened to her old story, all I could think about was when she was going to leave. Didn't I have to fight against her? Didn't I decide to fight against her? Didn't I find out her plot at the coffee house in Okinomiya? Didn't I find out that this woman is squeezing money out of my father when I looked inside his cash box? I know who you are. Please leave my father alone. How easy would it be if those 2 sentences could solve the problem? She'd probably deny it. Even if I told her about what I heard at the coffee house, I have no evidence of her plot. If she said she did it because the vulgar man was threatening her, there would be nothing I could do. But I know this woman is a bad person. I know something horrible will happen in the near future if I waste time like this. A strange, tense feeling started coming over me, but I also know how to let it out. As the feeling started running high, I became unable to stand the smell of her perfume. I wanted to put a certain distance between me and her, so I climbed down the slope of the scrap heap. I kept going down and down the slopes of the garbage dump. When I turned around, I saw her coming down as well, muttering. Was she following me? In order to run away from her, I started running down the slope all the way to the bottom, went behind some of the trash piles, and arrived in front of my hideout. My escape was meaningless. Not only was she going to catch up with me eventually, all I did was let her know the way to my hideout and that nobody is supposed to know about. I wanted to make sure she never saw my precious hideout. I was about to leave, but then she appeared.
へえ、ちょっと素敵よね。秘密基地みたい。
Not yours. Get away. It's mine.
私だけの秘密の隠れ家なんですよ。ここには誰も来ないし、誰にも何も聞こえません。
That's a funny way of wording that. I felt strange hearing myself say that.
レイナちゃんだけの秘密の隠れ家？嬉しいわね。そんな場所に連れてきてもらえるなんて。
Nobody invited you. You weren't invited, bitch. She must have thought I told her my secret base was worth sharing. She must have thought I told her my secret base was worth sharing it with. She looked happy. She found the station wagon, looked inside of it through the window, and went ooh and ah excitedly. Uh-oh. This is a secret place that nobody else knows. I felt like my consciousness was separating from my body, like I was floating. And we're gonna pull out a book, we're gonna turn on the really nice lamp she's got in there, and we're gonna read some books together. That's what's gonna happen. Hello, Star You Gays. Welcome. Hope your evening is going okay. But it didn't feel good, like when I drank amazake. It was more like being car sick. I felt like I was going to throw up. My brain was probably secreting some chemical in order to avoid facing the reality that I'd have to stay with this woman, and I couldn't run away from her. But even if my brain tried to avoid recognizing it, the reality in front of me wouldn't change.
そうそう。ねえ、レイナちゃん。
なんでしょう。
どうしたの？気分悪いの？
Yep, feeling fine. Feeling A-okay.
いえ、平気です。
Taylor, nobody is unhappy in Hinamizawa. I thought we went over this. I inhaled fresh air and pulled my consciousness back to reality. I didn't feel like throwing up anymore, but I still felt off balance. I leaned onto a scrap of garbage to keep my balance.
私はレイナちゃんのこと好きよ。
Keiichi has insisted repeatedly that nobody is ever unhappy in Hinamizawa, and I will not have my boy Keiichi's word argued with. We know that he is a man who makes great decisions and is blissfully aware of every situation around him.
レイナちゃんは私のこと
Oh, we love you, Rena! We love you to pieces.
何ですか突然。
I said that because I didn't want to say that I like her.
私ね、ずっとあなたのお父さんとお付き合いをしているんだけど、いろいろと話し合ってね。
I needed to stop feeling like this. Get up, Rena. I'd heard something like this before. A part of me was trying to understand what this woman was trying to say, but another part of me was trying not to. I felt as if her words were bouncing around in my head, and I started having a headache.
それでね、これからのことを真剣に話し合ったのよ。
No, Rena, I'm gonna advise you reel this back in. Reel it on back in and hold
これ
that
か
for
らの
later.
生活やいろいろよ。
What?
レイナも秋人おじさんのこと好きでしょ？
Oh, it's chime time, ladies and gentlemen. It's chime time.
それでね、お母さん。
What's going on? Mother? What are you thinking about, Rena Ryugu? This is an important moment. You're about to have a one-on-one battle with Rena-san. No, Mom. What about my dad? What about me? I don't want you to divorce him. I don't want you to get remarried to anybody else. No, please, don't divorce him. I'm not going to let you do that. I'm not going to let you get remarried.
再婚なんて許さないです。
Well, damn. She's just like putting her foot down. What usually happens after chime time? Well, usually good things. Like, you get the party started. It's like a party popper, really. It's just a more elaborate party popper, I think. Remember, there are no unhappy people in Hinamizawa.
え？
お父さんとどういう付き合い方をしたって構いませんが、再婚なんて許さないです。
Planting her flag. I like it. That's assertive. She must not have thought that I'd say it straight out like that. She looked stunned. After a while, she broke the silence with her laughter.
拒絶もあるかなとは思ってたけど、ここまではっきり言われるとは思わなかったもんだから。
拒絶もあるかなと思っていました。私が拒絶していたのに気づいていたのは意外でした。
そんなのわかるでしょ。
Oh, there's a look. Hi. Where'd that little smile go?
あんた、私と目を合わせるとすぐ逃げるもん。それで分かってないなんて思ってた？子供は嫌ね。
Uh-oh. She frowned, revealing her ugly self. It should have been the first time I saw her face like that, but I wasn't surprised at all. Her face had looked like that to me from the
で
beginning.
きれば上辺だけでもあんたとは仲良くしてたかったんだけど、ここまで嫌われちゃ難しいわね。私のどこが気に入んないの？
What do we hate about her, chat? What reasons could we possibly have to hate this fine, innocent, young, pink-haired lady?
工学のために教えてよ。
You would like to know for future reference. Literally all of the above.
最初っから。
Well, there you go. D. Fucking everything.
全部。匂いも嫌い。
Hate your smell, you dirty bitch. One vicious word came out of my mouth after another. I didn't have wings, but I felt as if I was flying up to the sky. I felt weird and uncomfortable, but also exhilarated. I felt as if I was letting another me use my body. I was in the middle of a disastrous battlefield, but I felt like it wasn't even my business.
そりゃあ好都合ね。私もあんたのこと嫌いだったから、お互い様よね。なめんなクソガキ。ガタガタ言わされてえか。
I don't know if you're making the right decision here, ma'am. You, remember me asking you to maybe reel it in earlier? This would be the prime time to maybe do that.
二度と家へ来ないでください。再婚なんて、私が絶対に許さない。
別に、あんたに許してもらわなくてもいいんだけど。まあ、あんたがうまく立ち回って、お父さんに再婚を断念させたきゃさせてごらんって。そんなの今さら意味ないし。
She didn't look intimidated by me at all, and that made me feel a little intimidated in return. Why was she so confident of her absolute control over my father? 'Cause that boy pussy whipped! That's it. Rena, you're smart enough to know this. She had to have more than confidence to be able to act so fearless as this. She must have something tangible. Tangible! Yeah! Between her thighs! Talk to your dad! That's what this is about! Before I asked her what it was, she told me herself.
私ね、
Oh
プロポーズされた
no!
の。
Oh no, don't do that! Don't do that! Don't do that! Oh no! Oh boy!
嘘だ。
嘘じゃないわよ。本当よ。
It's a lie. It's a lie. It's a lie. It's a big lie. She has to divorce because she got pregnant. She has to get married because she got pregnant. That's a lie. That's a big lie.
向こうからのお願いだから聞かないわけにもいかないしね。
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like you to observe the very good Christian lady on your screen at the moment. This is what a devout and good Christian woman looks like.
指輪ももらっちゃったし。それに、結婚を前提のお付き合いだったわけだしね。指輪まで送っておいて、今さらちゃぶ台返しなんてことになると、最近は問題が多いわよね。
Oh, it's gonna be a big mess. A big mess.
それが最初から目的のくせに。私は聞いてるんだ。お前と鉄という男が二人で喫茶店で話しているところを聞いてるんだ。
Oh, she's throwing it all out there now. Uh-oh.
お父さんのお金を目当てに近づいたのを知っている。ひなみ沢の旦那と呼んで詐欺にかけようとしていることを知ってる。笠井さんに聞いたから全部知ってるんだ。詐欺師だってことも全部知ってるんだ。
Oh, hey, how's it going?
全部知ってるんだ。
Personal space, please.
あららららららん。
Are we gonna get Renacopter now? Do we have Renacopter? Yeah, we have Renacopter, ladies and gentlemen. Hold on. We must... The Renacopter must fly.
あら、全部知ってるんだ。あららららららん。あら、全部知ってるんだ。あららららららん。あら、全部知ってるんだ。あららららららん。
Before I knew it, Rena was standing right in front of me. We glared at each other with our faces almost touching.
で、レイナちゃんはそこまで知っててどうしようってわけ？
お父さんに二度と近づかないでください。
嫌よって言ったら？こんな秘密の隠れ家に誘ってくれての話だからね。 そういうお話かなとは思ってたのよ。だってここ秘密の隠れ家なんでしょ。誰も知らなくて誰にも何も聞こえない秘密の場所なんでしょ。
Oh, this probably didn't go as we planned it.
そうですよ。誰も知らなくて誰にも何も聞こえない。
Ooh, she's not backing down either. Ooh, she's got some spunk. She's got some fight in her.
誰も訪れることのない忘れられた場所。
Our faces were so close to each other that our noses could almost touch. I knew what I was talking about, but I didn't know what would happen next. I couldn't back down now that I'd come to this point, but I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what I should do.
いやだ、何をマジになってんだかね。ほらほら、仲直り。
Again, I don't think again, I think that only works when something was true in the first place and then became untrue. I don't think again is a part of this. I don't think you get to say again here. Rena started laughing and slapped me on the back. My expression didn't change and I kept staring at Rena, but I didn't notice her real intention of putting both of her arms around my neck. The tension broke, already stretched thin, and Rena squeezed my neck hard. Oh, this is not going to go well. I was openly hostile, but I didn't realize Rena's evil intentions until she started choking me.
子供のくせに舐めやがってよ。もうちょいでうん千万って金が転がるんだよ。上辺だけでも仲良しってことになってりゃ小遣いの少しもやろうって思ってたのにな。口ばっかり滑らしか、うんだらねえとこでまだるっこし。血にさらせやこら。
I tried to pry her hands off my neck, but I didn't have the strength to do so.
殺しはしたかなかったんだけどね。二度とこんなうまいかもにゃ会えないだろうしさ。
Go for the eyes! Yes! Go for the eyes! Rake the fucking eyes!
てめえ閉めてうん千万なら悪くはないさね。どうせ巻き上げたら蒸発するつもりだったしさ。上等くれたらこの野郎。
The world around me got darker and darker. I had never known evil intention like this, namely the intention to kill me. It didn't scare me though. That's because being scared is a feeling that people use to express how they feel when they see wildfire on the other side of the river. People on the island with the wildfire, with their deaths right in front of them, they don't get scared. If I loosened my grip on her hands even a little bit, she'd crush my throat. This was a simple competition to see who was stronger. Rena wanted to get into the most advantageous position possible, so she tried to push me down onto the ground so that she could mount me. If I let her do that, I wouldn't stand a chance. I tried to keep my current position, but I was losing a lot of energy by being choked. It was only a matter of time before Rena could push me down. I lost my balance on purpose. I tried to fall backwards in order to put her off balance. I couldn't hold my breath long enough to keep up that strength competition, so I had no choice but to take that chance. We fell on the ground, tangled together, but as Rena was strongly determined to kill me, she didn't even take her hands away from my neck after she fell. However, my action made Rena loosen her grip on my throat. It wasn't loose enough for me to break free of her grip, but it gave me a few moments to use my hands for something other than stopping her from crushing my throat. If I hadn't taken the chance, I would have been done for. That's why I tried to literally seize my chance. I moved both my hands on the ground to seize that chance. I felt a piece of broken glass. I felt a piece of broken glass on my right hand. This was truly my chance to literally save myself from the brink of death. I cut Rena's wrist deep with the piece of glass. Oh shit! Rena tried to endure the pain for a few seconds. The pain that severe from someone so cornered soon broke her will. She let go of my throat to cling to her bloody wrist. I used that moment to roll away from her. She screamed, both in pain and also to try and intimidate me again. It didn't work anymore, though. Intimidation only works on the opponent when the opponent is hesitant to fight. When you're already in a fight, screaming like that means nothing more than letting the opponent know how badly you're hurt. I no longer had any hesitation. I had learned from Rena. She taught me what I have to do in a situation like this. That's right. This is my secret hideout. I know every single piece of junk in here. Maybe I knew that a day like this was coming. Was it just a coincidence that it was here? I had pulled out a meter-long lead pipe. Not at all surprised to see it there. I raised it up high and brought it back down. There was no way Rena could block this hard and heavy lead pipe with just her arms. She probably tried to block it with the palms of her hands in order to take it from me, but her long nails wouldn't let that happen. Unable to catch the way she wanted, she broke her fingers and some of her nails came off too. God damn! Her scream made me realize that I had the advantage, an advantage I would have to keep. If I didn't, she'd turn the tables just like I did, and then she'd choke me to death for sure. Rena shielded her head with her arms, but it didn't help. All that would change is that I'd break her arms before I broke her face. I'm serious too. Die, die, die. You should die. Yeah, that's right. I should have done this a long time ago. I didn't need proof. I didn't have to talk to anybody. That's stupid. That's nonsense. I should have done this a long time ago. If I had done it a long time ago, my father wouldn't have been deceived. I could have protected him. I could have protected my family. I could have protected my life. I could have been myself. My mother wouldn't have divorced my father. I could have stayed happy. I wouldn't have to be unhappy. I'm going to recapture my happiness. At this moment, I'm going to win back my happiness. I'm not going to cry for misfortune. I'm not going to give in to a fate of unhappiness. I'm going to be happy. I'm going to seize my happiness right now with my own two hands. Rena tried to run away from me, but as she no longer had the use of her hands, it made it difficult for her to stand up to escape, especially since there were scraps of junk everywhere on the ground. After all, this is my hideout. This is my territory. Nobody can run away from me here. She tried to climb onto the slope of garbage, slipped, fell, and rolled all the way back down. She didn't stand up or move. Her eyes were open and her neck was bent at an unnatural angle. I didn't know how to make sure she was dead, so I kept looking at her opened eyes for a little while. She could be faking for all I know. But she didn't close her eyes no matter how long I waited. I scooped up a handful of sand and threw it at her face. She still didn't close her eyes. It's just this way. Like, there's not a lot of gore actually shown in the visual novel. It's mostly just descriptions. So it's just like that, naturally. That's kind of how Ryukishi's work goes, is that he's very good at describing the violence, but he never shows it. The anime does show quite a bit. It's obviously a lot more graphic in that sense. But the visual novels cut away and kind of dance around the violence and use the words to show, or words to tell and not show. I scooped up a handful of sand and threw it in her face. She still didn't close her eyes. Yeah, they do a lot of shadow cutaways and stuff in the anime too. Oh, your only experience is the anime? Nice. Yeah, that was kind of me coming into doing this project and streaming these games as a whole, is that I'd only seen the anime, and I had helped with the localization of the original Answer Arc releases. So that was like, I knew what happened, obviously, but I had not experienced the entire story front to back in visual novel form before. So... yeah, like that's kind of like why I tend to try to keep spoilers to keep the place spoiler free, because we do have a lot of first timers watching the visual novel for the first time. So the lead pipe slipped out of my hand and hit the ground. When I tried to pick it up, I realized how heavy it was and was surprised I was wielding it as though it was a knife. I was sweating all over. The cold wind felt good on my skin. The cries of the Higurashi were calming me down and healing my soul. Rena was just like a broken dummy now. She had become a piece of junk. Oh, you're playing Amnesia Memories. Nice. How are you liking that? I'm the owner of this land of junk, and I defended it from her intrusion. Now she was a resident of this junkyard. I didn't feel bad about killing her. In fact, I felt rather fulfilled that I had defeated the evil woman who had deceived my father. I started breathing slowly and calmly, and I regained enough energy to analyze the situation. I have to hide her body. First, I have to get rid of her scooter. Death hype? You finally made it, Jetstorm. You missed something. There was a bit of a confrontation. Oh, you find the bad ends quite fun? Nice. Yeah, Jetstorm, Rena did a thing! I climbed the slope and kicked her scooter down the hill. It rolled down the slope, making a lot of noise, and blended in with all the junk as it stopped, like it was there from the beginning. I went back down the slope and started dragging her body to my hideout. It should have taken as much effort as dragging a 50-kilogram sandbag, but it felt lighter than that. It was just a sandbag, yet it brought disaster to my family. I didn't lure her here to kill her. Or did I? Maybe I just didn't notice that I had the intention deep down in my heart. But even so, I felt like this was the best and most expedient solution. There was no better solution than killing her. How wasteful to depend on someone to help me, to wait for the day to come when they will. I remembered the murder of Satoshi-kun's aunt when that happened last year. I had no doubt that Satoshi-kun murdered her, but I have never been as convinced as I am right at this moment. How could he have saved Satoko-chan other than by killing his aunt last year at that time, in that circumstance? My situation was much the same as his. How could I have saved my father other than by killing her? If I was planning a murder, I would have been under a lot of pressure and stress, but for better or for worse, the moment came to me out of nowhere. That's why I believe I solved the problem with as little trouble as possible. Now that she's gone, will anyone become suspicious about her disappearance? She was an irresponsible person who skipped work at her own convenience, so I didn't think anybody would get suspicious when she'd disappear one day. She was a big mess from the start. People will think she went into hiding because she got into deep trouble with someone. I didn't need to fabricate an alibi. All I needed to do was get rid of her body. It took me a while to figure out how to do the last part. Hiding her body would be very risky, but my brain had become so calm that it did some calculations and came up with the answer right away. Yes, this place is still the safest. This is a place forgotten. Nobody comes here. Nobody knows this place is here. I knew that because I had been spending a lot of time here. Compared to taking the risk of carrying her body to some other place, it was a lot safer to just hide it here. Oh, Jetstorm, you just finally figured it out. How's it going, Raven? Welcome. Rena did a thing. This town needs a therapist. People, I hear of a lot of pent-up feelings. If this story tells you anything, it's that people are real fucking complicated. I think at both, when you look at the characters of both Satoko and Rena in particular, those are two characters that are very good at hiding things that are very wrong with them. And they've chosen to not really talk about those things. And it's an interesting thing to look at, I think, story-wise, and the way these characters were built. I think that, there's some very obvious messaging that the story's trying to put out there. But it wasn't perfect yet. This place wouldn't remain a secret forever. I could hide it here for now, but I'd have to come up with a perfect way to make it completely disappear. It's a lot easier to think about than thinking about how to make Rena break up with my father. I stuffed her corpse into a broken refrigerator in a trash box. Literally fucking refrigerated her. Yep, Tomitake makes that fucking joke. That she was hiding the body. I wanted to cover the refrigerator with dirt and bury it, But that was too easy. I had to chop the corpse into pieces and make them completely disappear. I felt like it got dark all of a sudden. No, it didn't get dark all of a sudden. I just didn't realize it was getting dark until just then. I could hear thunder from a distance. It might rain soon. I could use some rain. It had washed Rena's dirty blood from the ground. I should go home. I should think about what I'd do tomorrow. I was going to stay right beside my father until he forgets about her. He might hurt at first, but we're going to recapture our happiness for sure. Our happy, peaceful life. My body was heavy with exhaustion, but I also felt fulfilled because I took a very important first step today. I'll keep taking one step after another. I'm not going to cry anymore. I'm not going to cry until I win back my happiness. I'm not going to cry again. Yeah, Iba joined us for this stream because it's the first anniversary of I, the Somnium Files releasing. So I thought, since I didn't get to do the stream that I wanted to do for I, the Somnium Files today, I thought that I'd just put Iba up there in the corner. Also, I'll be right back in like 1 minute or so, and then we'll continue the chapter. Alright, he doesn't have to get remarried, everybody. Rena's dad doesn't have to get remarried. The dad is a simp. That was the first thing I said after I got home. My father looked stunned. He noticed the sad tone in my voice, and realizing that I didn't agree with the idea of remarriage, he looked down.
レイナの気持ちもわかるよ。事前にレイナにもよく相談。
プロポーズなんて取り消せばいい。あんな女。
あんな女なんて言い方しちゃダメだ。リナさんは
本当のことを話す。あの女とテツという男は二人組の悪人。我が家の財産を狙ってお父さんに近づ
Wow,
いて
she's
きただ
just
け。
laying it all out. This is probably a bad idea because I don't think he's gonna buy it anyway. My father didn't get in right away, of course. He looked upset instead because I had called her that woman. I should have chosen my words a little more carefully, but I think I told him the truth clearly enough. I told him everything I heard and saw at the coffee house. As I expected, he defended Rena anyway. I was upset, but at the same time, it made me certain that there was no other way than to kill her. I felt the pressure on my shoulders lessen for some reason. My father thought he needed my approval for his remarriage, so he held back his anger and put a fake smile on his face
なあ、レイ
instead.
ナ。もう一度ゆっくりとお父さんたちと話し合おう。そうすればきっと分かってくれるから。
Yeah, something tells me she's gonna be hanging around wherever she is at for a good while. A tamed animal is still tamed even after the owner is dead. That's okay. I'll open the gate anyway. Even a tamed animal will notice one day that he's no longer in captivity. That's not something that I could teach him. He had to realize it on his own. I couldn't stand his fake smile anymore, so I left the living room. Time healed the pain from the divorce. Time heals any kind of pain, just like how dripping water will eventually bore a hole through solid rock. I did what I could do. Now I'd have to wait. But the day I was going to wait for came earlier than I expected. At midnight the following day, we had a visitor. It was that Techon man. Teppei Hojo. Oh, there's that music again. Well, she kind of like the color of the dress she usually wears is like, it actually comes up over her neck. I know because it's the one, like, I had the dress made myself, so like I think you could probably hide it because the collar of her dress comes up over her neck. Teppei didn't even knock on the door to get in. He broke into the house by smashing the window. At first, I thought he came here to ask us about Rena's whereabouts, but I was wrong. The real reason why Teppei came here was because it was their plan. It was the last stage of their badger game. Rena was probably supposed to be in bed with my father at this time tonight. Teppei must have wanted to show up and catch them sleeping together. Teppei looked around the house, but he couldn't find Rena. He didn't change the plan, though. He grabbed my father by his collar and started yelling threats. He showed my father a certificate of marriage to Rena and shouted at him, saying, "You got my wife pregnant. How are you going to take responsibility?" Yeah, club activity, right? My father had no idea she was married. He looked shocked. My father is a short guy. He was faint of heart. He just let Teppei do and say whatever he wanted from beginning to end. I looked at them from a distance coldly. The more Teppei yelled and threatened my father, the faster he'd wake up from his bad dream. That was a medicine for him. Teppei was cutting out the cancer that I was going to depend on time to do, and he was doing a great job of it. I waited to help my father until I was sure that he had finally awakened from his bad dream. I told Teppei that I had something very important to tell him and took him outside.
Rina さんって昨日以来沖宮に帰ってますか？実はリナさん、事情があって隠れてるんです。
That's some good verbiage there. She's hiding somewhere.
どういうこっちゃ？
リナさんから哲平さんが来たら連れてきてほしいと言われてるんです。
ああ？いつこのやつどうしたの？
Teppei followed me without hesitation. We walked in the dark with a flashlight to the place where nobody comes and nobody can hear us. The place forgotten. He asked me many things on the way, but I couldn't answer any of them. I just told him to ask Rena. The way I said it seemed to make him think that Rena was going to betray him and get married to my father for real. Even though he was breathing heavily in a rage, he walked right behind me without any suspicions. I knew this day was going to come very soon, so I was well prepared for it. Real swinging place. Is this man an idiot? I mean, maybe. We reached the place where I originally planned to bring him, and I turned off the flashlight all of a sudden.
どうしたんね?
Everyone gets nervous when the only light in the dark goes off. But this is my territory. I didn't need any light. I could feel my surroundings even better with my eyes closed. Oh, I hear it's chime time. Oh yeah, it's chime time. She grabbed the big hatchet she'd hidden in a bush and lifted it up high.
ごめんなさい。電池の接触不良かな。
I guess the battery went out. On your life?
ちょっと待ってくださいね。
はよせんとね。
I purposely sounded weak and helpless while I raised the hatchet into the air.
ライターあるわ。出すんね。
Teppei found a lighter in his pocket and lit it up. He probably couldn't understand the sight illuminated by a small light. He saw a girl lifting up a big hatchet right in front of him.
Huh? Oh.
Teppei's eyes went wide. He didn't understand what was going on, but he understood that his life was in danger. And yet, he must not have been able to think fast enough to deal with it, even though he understood what he should do. Even if he could think fast enough and blocked his head with his arms, it wouldn't mean anything. I knew Teppei would come for my house eventually. That's why I prepared for that day. I just didn't think that the preparation was going to bear fruit tonight. I chose my weapon very carefully. I planned when, where, and how I was going to attack him. And so, there can only be one result. Oh! Just done, huh? The hatchet cut deeply into his forehead. Just fucking one and done. Jesus Christ, Rena over here is quite the little problem solver. I felt an indescribable vibration through the hatchet when it hit him, and this told me that I broke his skull. He bragged about how good he was at fighting at the coffee house, but he sure went down quickly when faced with a murderous weapon. Yeah, what a gigantic pussy. Imagine only taking one blow from a fucking hatchet to the head. He was done in by a single blow. Teppei slowly fell to his side with the hatchet in his forehead. He looked like a victim in a B movie. I killed this big guy with just one hatchet. He was probably quite experienced in the world of violence, but I was better than him when it came to killing. Why? Because I've killed someone before. It's all done now. The bad people who deceived my father and tried to rob him blind are all gone. I did what I had to do in order to protect my life. If I had this much courage and determination when my mom told me about the divorce, I might have killed Akihito. If I did, I would have taken the life of only one. Because I couldn't do it back then, I had to kill 2 people in the last 2 days. Rena, let's finish this up. There's already a place to hide his body. I took care of everything. My hands were wet, so I shone the flashlight at them. I thought it was blood, but it was just sweat. Even so, I still felt uncomfortable and shone the flashlight in my hands several times. I did all this in order to be happy. I did all this, so I should be happy now. I tried so hard that I got blood on my hands. I wanted to get credit for that from him. Oh, Yashiro-sama, let me ask you a question. I can finally rewind time back to the day everything started to go wrong, can't I? I'm going to stay in Hinamizawa. I'm going to live happily with my father forever. She's such a hard worker, right? Right? It's rare to see Rena sleep in class. She isn't the kind of girl who sleeps in class because of staying up so late. She had to be tired from doing housework or something. Everybody seemed to be thinking the same thing. Nobody tried to wake her up, not even Chie-sensei. She got up for a few seconds and went back to sleep. She swayed back and forth like she was rowing a boat, but she's in class, so I should wake her up, right? I was about to wake her up, but before my hand touched her, Mion gave me a sign not to.
寝かせてあげなよ。
She said she worked real hard last night. She put in some work. So let the girl sleep.
たまにはそういう日もあるよ。
それもそうだな。
I heard a few days ago that Rena lives with her father. She studies during the day, plays a lot after school, and does things around the house after that. I didn't know that. I also didn't know her mother had divorced her father. Mion told me that. She also told me not to talk about it because Rena is still hurt by the divorce.
そんな苦労をしてるなんて全然気づきもしなかったぜ。
レナはそういうのを表に出さないタイプだよね。ひょっとすると普段陽気に振る舞っているのもそういう風に意識して振る舞っているからかもね。
Rena told me that happy days will one day come to an end. She told me she knew that firsthand. What could she have been through? I had no idea. That's probably why she tried to spend as much time as peacefully and cheerfully as she could. I must have hurt her feelings when I said I was bored of having happy days. Hey, Keiichi's getting smarter. He's like realizing he's kind of an insensitive prick sometimes. Look at this boy. I'm so proud. When I thought about it, I felt bad for living off my parents, who are both healthy and happy. For that matter, Satoko and Rika-chan lost their parents too. Mion lives with her grandmother away from her parents because she needs to learn to be the head of the Sonozaki family in the future. When I realized all that, I felt bad about my situation.
別にケイちゃんが両親と生活してることを申し訳なく思うことはないよ。
Mion seemed to have read my mind. She said it with a cool expression on her face.
確かに家族ってのは生まれてきた子供である私たちにとって一番最初のコミュニティなんだと思う。でもね、コミュニティは家族だけじゃないんだよ。
仲間か。
分かってるじゃん。
俺たちはレナにとって家族に負けないくらいの存在なんだろうか。
掃除洗濯、炊事に買い物。それに疲れて昼寝だけして過ごすことだってレナにはできるんだよ。でもレナはそれをしない。放課後の時間いっぱいを私たちと部活をして過ごす。それはつまりなんて言えばいいのかな。そう、仲間ってことなんだよ。
レナにとっては家族と同じくらいの意味のある仲間ってことなのか。
Mion looked stunned, as if she didn't understand what I was talking about.
ああ、ケイちゃんが今日まで仲間って言葉をどういう意味で使ってきたか知らないけどさ、仲間ってのは家族と全く同格じゃないのかな。
Mion's got the right idea.
難しく考えることではないのですよ。
Rika-chan joined our conversation.
居場所があればいいのです。それがある場所を家族と言ったり仲間と言ったり呼び方が少し変わるだけのことなのですよ。
リカちゃんにとって家族と仲間は同じものか。
僕はそうだと思っていますです。サトコもミーもそしてレナもそうだと思いますですよ。
だから私たちはいつも一緒にいようとするんじゃないかな。
リカちゃんはみんなといると寂しくないか。
みんなは家族なのです。寂しくなんかないのですよ。
Mion nodded in agreement. Satoko was talking to the other classmates, but I'm sure she would nod as well. Rena would
俺
too.
ちょっと恥ずかしいよ。今日まで俺仲間って言葉を使ってきたけどさ、本当の意味で理解してなかったと思う。仲間ってのはもっともっと大切でかけがえのないすげえもんなんだよな。
Our little boy's growing up. He's learning. I'm so proud of him. I'm so proud.
それすっごく当たり前のことだからさ。もし今日まで分かってなかったならよく胸に刻んだ方がいいよ。
そうだな、そうするぜ。
あとそれを二度と口にしない方がいいかもだね。今ケイちゃんかなり恥ずかしいこと言ってたと思うよ。
After all that, Mion still made fun of me. I think I understand a little better why Rena was always so serious about having fun. I want to be her best friend, and I want to do my best to be deserving of her effort. All's well that ends well. Keiichi learned a valuable lesson. Rena snored. It sounded cute. Chie-sensei let her sleep in class, but she couldn't let her get away with snoring.
委員長、竜宮さんを起こしてください。レーナ、ほらほら。
Rena was still half asleep and made a strange noise. Everybody in class laughed. Rena noticed they were laughing at her, woke up right away, and acted like she wasn't sleeping at all. It looked really funny, and I burst into a fit of laughter. Outside the window, the sky was blue and the clouds were pure white. It was still June, but it looked like the middle of summer. This perfect weather wouldn't last forever. It could get cloudy and rain all of a sudden. That's why we had to play and raise a ruckus while we still had this perfect weather. The cries of the cicadas sound as if they're laughing at us because we still have some classes left. Ah, damn it. I can't wait for school to finish.
どうしたんだろう。ケイチ君すっごく嬉しそうだね。今日は何かあるの？
別に今日何かあるわけじゃないぜ。今日は今日だし、明日は明日だろ。今日が晴れてるならそれで十分。明日の天気なんか知ったこっちゃないってことさ。だから今日という日を俺は精一杯遊び倒したい。
Exactly, look at that. Protect that smile forever.
いつ天気が崩れたって後悔しないくらいに徹底的にな。
I learned that from Rena. I learned that peaceful days are the happiest days you can have and that they're irreplaceable.
ミオ、今日の部活はなんだ？それに最近罰ゲームがちょいと刺激不足だぜ。
Yo, sick! Check it out, everybody. We're going back to club. Everything's A-okay. We did it. We fixed everything. Like they said, there isn't an unhappy person in Hinamizawa.
言うね、ケイちゃん。そこまで言うなら今日の放課後には生き地獄ってやつを拝ましてあげるよ。
ケイチ君、あんまりみーちゃんを挑発しちゃダメだよ。
おいおい、臆すのかよレナ。上等じゃないかよ。また俺たちの実力で大暴れしてやろうぜ。
Everybody, let's play the body count game. It's a game where we all say how many bodies that we have accrued in our lifetime.
俺とレナの決着だってまだまだついちゃいないんだからな。
I grinned at her and she grinned back.
それもそうだね。よーし、レナも思いっきり頑張るぞ。レナさんには先日の借りがございますものね。
No one checked the freezer.
きっちり倍返しさせていただきましてですわよ。
いいね、いいね。盛り上がってきたよ。
早く放課後になるといいのです。
I couldn't wait either, but the time we spend just talking together is also very
そうだな。
precious.
早く放課後になるといいな。
My favorite wine. Hey, I can get on this. Give me a nice red any day. Who's got a favorite wine? I want to talk about wine. I like me some wine. Satoko went to join the children playing in the schoolyard. Since I didn't feel like going, I decided to stay at home. Most likely, she wouldn't be back until the evening. When Satoko wasn't around, I had ways of spending time without her. Besides, that was what I wanted to do anyway. I stuck my hand deep inside the pile of winter futons in the closet and pulled one out. Next, I filled a stylish-looking glass with ice. The ice made in the freezer smelled of chlorine, though, and it didn't taste good. Store-bought ice would be best, but since Satoko kept asking me what I was using it for, I stopped buying it. But it might be worth spending time to think about a good excuse. For that if it meant that I'd be able to enjoy ice without ever again smelling the chlorine. I filled the glass with mineral water and then poured a little bit of another liquid into the glass. Watching the color mix into the transparent water was a very pleasant thing. This wasn't the right way to drink it, but I liked it this way and I didn't want to hear any complaints. My body was very convenient because I can get drunk with only a tiny amount. That's why I dilute the small amount with a full glass of water. And thanks to that, I could enjoy a single bottle for a long time. It wasn't bad, if you thought about it like that. I put a cushion in my favorite spot by the window, and with the glass in one hand, I enjoyed the familiar view of the soft wind brushing through the air. A slightly sweet, ripened aroma tickled my nose, and just when I was about to start enjoying the atmosphere, the annoying one came back. She didn't like this bad habit of mine, and she complained every time I tilted the glass. She started nagging me noisily.
うるさいな。少しくらい我慢なさい。何を飲もうと食おうと、私の勝手でしょ。
ダメなのです。その飲み物はあなたにはまだ早いのです。
I tried to ignore her, but she started making a fuss, as if you're trying to ruin the atmosphere on purpose. There was no way I could enjoy getting drunk like this. I glared at her, then threw the drink out the
な
window.
んで私が憂鬱か知りたい？私の死に方が決まったからよ。
It seemed like she finally understood why I wanted to drown myself in
そんな
alcohol.
に落ち込まなくてもいいのよ。割と一瞬で死ねるから、そんなに怖くないわ。
My body will be burned and cut into pieces, and I'll be able to die instantly.
でも、またダメなのです。
そうね。またダメね。これだと、私の命日はいつだっけ
6月の25日の夜だと思いましたです。
綿流しの祭りが終わってからだいたい1週間後か。まあ妥当なあたりね。
やっぱり僕のせいなのでしょうか。
決まってるでしょ。あんた自覚ないの？
はうはう。
She was the one who asked me, yet she cried when I told her she was right. Aw, jeez, she's always so
頑張
annoying.
りましょう。次のすごろくではきっと6が立て続けに出てくれることもあるわよ。
June 25th. I still had 10 more days. I was going to relax and enjoy those 10 days. I still had some wine left, too. How you guys feel about wine? Y'all like wine? And yep, I'm dropping all you first-timers there for tonight. So come back again tomorrow. Maybe we'll find out more of what the fuck that was. Thanks again, everybody, for coming out. Much appreciated. We will be starting again at around 7 p.m. tomorrow evening. That's Eastern Daylight for those looking for a time to sync up. So yeah, we'll catch you again same time tomorrow.